What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I'm joined by Quinton Eriya, who's competing at the Romania Pro this weekend. We haven't seen him since last year of a New York Pro. Quinton, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. Good. It's always good when you're loading up on carbs and when your body's responding well. So I'm really happy, excited to compete, happy to be here in Romania. Got my beautiful girlfriend with me, who's been an excellent source of support. And yeah, just nothing stressed me this prep. You know, it's been a very hard prep, very, very hard. But I just focus on what I can control. And everything's just falling into place.
Yeah, man, and you're looking crazy. I'll show people what you're looking like as well. I'll pull up your Instagram page in a minute. But you're looking crazy, and you've been able to maintain that really, really small waist while, like adding the size and coming in really good condition. Is that like a focus for you, like every year? Like you always trying to keep that waist really small while trying to add size?
So normally I'm just trying to grow, and I'm not really focused on the waist in the off season. But moving forward, it's something that I'm going to do. I don't think the big off seasons is something that it's already been something that I wasn't really a fan of. And this past off season, I toned it down a little bit. But I just find that in general, like as it pertains to like health complications, it's not that I have no health issues, but I don't think it's as practical to be walking around like crazy weights, and just maintaining like a lower weight, a lower body composition. I feel like you may not grow as much, but at the same time, your waist is definitely going to stay small. Your joints are going to love you, and you probably won't have a sleep apnea. So that's kind of where my mind is at.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, like not having sleep apnea and things like that help with recovery as well. So you're actually able to grow more so in that regard. And people only sort of consider, oh, you're pushing more calories, you'll be able to grow more, which, even if at the time you might be able to, but also there are obviously, downstream effects, in terms of longevity in the sport and also health-wise as well. Now, obviously what's happened recently with Shawn Rhoden, and obviously we've had a lot of deaths recently in bodybuilding with George Peterson, and obviously we don't know what's actually happening with Victor Richard, but which is a pretty crazy story. But is that something when obviously you're a pro bodybuilder, when that sort of stuff happens, does that scare you? Like, does that make you sort of take notice and go, okay, like, yeah, this is not like a game?
It's not a game, and the thing is, I know Shawn Rhoden, and I'm not going to act like we were best friends, but I looked up to him. He inspired me a lot. We've had conversations, when I'd see him, we talk, and he was always just he would always encourage me. He's always a very nice guy, always very positive. I'm not somebody that likes to speculate, who am I to say why I think this or that happened to somebody else? I just, I see it, and objectively, I understand that it could be a plethora of factors for not just Shawn Rhoden, but for George Peterson. It could, listen, the truth of the matter is, taking steroids, walking around at like 300 plus pounds, my body mass index at 6'1", I think I'm supposed to be like 200 pounds, to maintain a healthy heart, I'm supposed to be like 100 pounds less. So it just like, it's not steroids per se, but it's just everything. There's a lot of things that are compounded together as it pertains to bodybuilding that might not be good for overall health. And I think you have to be ignorant to overlook that. However, in other circumstances, like in Shawn Rhoden's, there was a lot of other factors, that people aren't really putting into consideration. But I hate the fact that there's people that are so insensitive and they get online. I watched your videos. I watch all your videos. The Shawn Ray situation. I'm like, man, this is like absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very frustrating. But the thing is, at the same time, I saw the segment from Seth Feroce, and he has a good point. It's like, he's not saying that that's what it was, but it's like, guys, like, this stuff isn't healthy, so to speak, right? So we got to stop playing ourselves. A lot of us want to tell ourselves, no, it's going to be fine. I'm doing it right. And you might be for the most part, but it's just the combination of everything. It could do something later on. And if it does, it's what you signed up for. So if something were to happen to me, it's totally on me. I can't be mad at anybody. I wouldn't be, but I'm at a point where I'm prioritizing just longevity, and also being so heavy is not like, it's not practical. Can't go for walks with a girlfriend, can't walk your dog if you have a dog. Well, I mean, some people can, but it's, you know, a lot of that stuff is just way more tedious than it needs to be. But it definitely puts things into perspective. So
yeah.
yeah.
And obviously you're still young in your sport. Do you ever see, like, I mean, I remember Jay Cutler, he always said he would retire at, I think, 33 or 34. He sort of prolonged that a little bit, obviously, you know, winning the Mr. Olympia and being right up there. But do you have an age in your mind where you're like, okay, this is where I want to do this by this age, and then by this age, I sort of want to be out?
Probably like early 30s as well. Listen, I absolutely love bodybuilding. You know, just being here this weekend, like, I'm all smiles. This is the most I've smiled in a long time. You know, I'm excited to meet the competitors tonight at the athlete meeting. Like, it's just everything to get on stage, battle out with some of these, you know, these savages. Like, it's going to be an amazing time. I'm a fan of a number of guys I'm competing against, and the camaraderie involved with it. Like, I love bodybuilding. I love watching shows, love supporting my friends that bodybuild. But there is more to life than bodybuilding. You know, bodybuilding is not my life. It is a huge part of my life, and I love it. However, I love boxing just the same. But what, I'm gonna fucking try to be a pro boxer? No, it's not gonna work like that. You know, that's a sport where you got to start really, really young. You know, I love MMA, but that's all. You know, so it's like, I love a lot of things, but bodybuilding is the one thing that I loved, that I was really good at. So I do it, but I'm not going to do it forever.
Yeah, for sure. That's understandable. Now, just quickly circling back to, obviously you mentioned about the Shawn Ray thing. People have obviously mentioned that, you know, now's the time to actually get rid of him in terms of commentary and all that sort of stuff, because he has a big say in our industry. Do you have any perspective on that? Because obviously Fuad Abiad, he's, you know, he did the I'm not the emceeing, but the actual commentary for last week's contest, and he's made a push, and he said he wanted to sort of get into commentating, and he's, you know, I think he actually spoke to Dan Solomon and reached out to him about doing that. Is that something you'd like to see, like more, I suppose, fresh blood in terms of the actual commentary and stuff like that, and rather than, you know, a lot of, I suppose, golden era sort of guys?
The thing is, some of these guys, they get on these announcing panels and they just start criticizing the athletes. Yeah. So if I'm watching bodybuilding or the Olympia for the first time, I don't know what out of shape is. I can tell if, okay, this guy looks sharper, but if you highlight how soft or how bad, or, oh, this is horrible, like, you're painting a picture and you're shitting on the product. So I think it's actually like really counterproductive. And they kind of like, oh, in my day, we used to blah, 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 blah. It's not just Shawn Ray, but Shawn Ray is the absolute worst. Listen, I don't want to, like, I'm not one of those people that wants to take a paycheck out of anybody's pocket, but I would love to see Fuad replace him there, or anybody that could, you know, shine more positivity to the sport. Because I think that, even remember the guest posing Shawn Rhoden did years back, and he was like pretty overweight. I remember Shawn Ray went online bashing him, and it's just like,
he went harder than anyone.
Yeah, like, who cares? Like, I mean, listen, I get it. You're allowed to, you have your opinion, you're allowed to judge people, but it's just like, I don't know. I personally think that our sport needs a bit more positive energy. You know, it's already very taboo. It's already very, like, you know, frowned upon. You know, it's like, we're in this little corner, we're a little niche, and the people within our community are doing things that are kind of breaking us down, you know, and making us look bad, making our champions look bad. So it's just, I don't know. Not a fan.
Yeah, especially
I'm a fan of Shawn Ray, bodybuilder though. Sorry.
Especially in bodybuilding right now, I think, like, obviously, you know, with the recent deaths, with everything that's going on, you know, we don't need negativity compounded on top of it. I mean, obviously there's, you know, news stories that I sometimes have to report on because, you know, it's newsworthy, that aren't necessarily positive. But I think when you get people sort of compounding it and saying about how, you know, how the conditioning is bad now, how this is bad now and stuff in bodybuilding, and just saying the 90s was so much better. It's like, well, we're trying to grow as an industry and as a sport, and that's not necessarily helping, you know?
Yeah, that's awful. It's like, yeah, as I said, if a newcomer, somebody that's new to watching bodybuilding, is watching, and then they're listening to these announcers and they're talking about how shit the competitors are and how they were way better 20, 30 years ago, it's like, what do you think that's going to do for the product? You know, so obviously they're not the ones competing, so they don't care, but it's something that they should consider, because, you know, they are a part of the industry if they're they're announcers, right? So
yeah,
I don't know, it's just stepping on everybody's toes.
yeah, and I think it's the way it's conveyed too. I mean, I don't know if I always do it perfectly in my videos, but you might say, you know, this guy, you know, his back's amazing. You know, where he sort of loses a little bit, maybe his hamstrings aren't quite as crisp, but you know, he's got this, and you know, you sort of like, you're not just crapping on someone for 5 different things, and then you say, oh, he's got a good most muscular. Like that's sort of a bit of a cop out a little bit, I think. So I think it's a little bit the way it's conveyed and the way it's actually. I suppose, just put out there. But let's talk a little bit more about you and obviously this contest coming up this weekend. We haven't seen you since the New York Pro last year, as I mentioned in the intro. You've was just one spot behind Antoine, who obviously is living with at the time, I think, as well. And he went on, I think, a week or two later to win the Cali Pro. So it was an incredibly close New York Pro. And I felt like it was like basically like the top 8 or so guys were all really, really close. And you finished, unfortunately, I think it was 8th or 7th in that lineup.
Yeah.
Now, what are you bringing this year that's different to last year?
I'm much sharper. Last year I wasn't conditioned. I was out of shape. I wasn't like, I was pretty out of shape. And I honestly, the weird thing is that I didn't realize. And that might sound stupid, but I guess, like, you know, when you're bodybuilding, you just trust what you're being told. And, you know, from what I'm being told, like, I was told I was good, I was on point, and I didn't really think I was, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to trust what I'm being told, right? So, you know, sometimes your mind plays tricks on you. Sometimes I felt fat this year, and, you know, I look at the pictures, I'm like, okay, definitely not. But,
you can see here, like, obviously, can you see on the screen here, like, your glutes are in crazy condition, man. Like, it's definitely the sharpest I've ever seen you.
Yeah, man. So I think I'm much sharper this year. It's going to be a good one. And it's going to be a good one. We're just filling up right now. You know, I took a couple pictures. Things are looking better. I'm excited. You know, I think this is going to be a really good showing. It's going to be a really good showing. You know, I'm here to win. I'm coming to win. I'm not coming for no second place, third place, none of that. I'm coming to win. So
I was about to ask you that.
It's gonna be a good one. There's some really good competitors. I don't even want to narrow down the good competitors, I think, because I don't want to downplay anybody that maybe isn't as popular. Everybody's got a shot to win, but I definitely, you know, there's nobody there that makes me feel like, oh shoot, like, there's some good people though, and we'll see what happens when we mix it up, right? But, you know, listen, I'm coming. You know, I'm coming, and I'm gonna make a statement.
Man, I can't wait, because like, this is, I think, the physique most people want to see doing well in the IFBB, you know, now and going forward as well. Because like I said to Samson when I interviewed him last week after he won that show, I said, like, look, the top 4, everyone was pretty good in terms of aesthetics. I mean, you got obviously Samson there, you had Rafael Brandao, you had Regan Grimes, you had Nathan Diasha. I think that's right, the top 4. So it was all guys that have really nice shapes. And obviously you're adding your name into the lineup this week. And I think it's really, really cool to see that sort of throwback look coming back. And I think guys are being rewarded for it too. I mean, we saw Rafael last week. Some people said, you know, they might have had Regan above him or whatever, but he's got such a beautiful shape that I think that really pushed him up to be compared with Samson. So what do you think about this in terms of, like, you know, it seems like your type of physique is being favored more now in some of the judging maybe?
It's good, but then again, you have guys like incredible bodybuilders like Nick Walker, and
True.
He's had an exceptional year. So it's like I guess it just depends on who's there on the stage, right? Like,
that's true. I was
last
about
week,
to say that as well.
People that, I mean, it's just the people that showed up. There happen to be some really good aesthetic guys, but there's definitely, I don't know. It's funny. You can just. And this is the route I'm going the aesthetic route, but it's just interesting, you know, like bodybuilding, and that's kind of the fascinating thing about it. Like, if you have a super muscular aesthetic guy and you go up against a freak like Nick Walker, like, what happens, you know? So it's going to be interesting. I need that qualification. I need to mix it up with those top guys.
So what's the plan? Obviously this show this weekend, are you having like an aggressive carb up or not really?
Well, it depends on what you consider to be aggressive. Right now, like, I've been putting in so much work, you know, so my body was very run down. We did a high day yesterday and my weight dropped, like the lowest it's ever been on prep this morning. So we ramped carbs up a bit more today. I feel like I'm holding onto fullness a bit better, But ultimately, I just keep sending check-in pictures every couple hours, and I let my coach know my weight and what's up, how I feel. And yeah, so we're just kind of, again, you know how it is. We just play it by ear. But yeah, this is the most carbs I've ever needed heading into a show. Like there's been a time where I had, last year, for example, I wasn't tight enough and we did a big carb up. So it was just not good. Whereas like that year, like I feel like if you're a little like behind, you gotta like do the, you gotta like suffer until the show and maybe pull water. You know what I mean? If you want to look good on stage. So the carb up did not work at all because my body didn't need carbs, you know? So this time my body needs carbs and everything's staying sharp. So it's cool to experience such a difference. Like I'm eating more than I did for the carb up last year. And my body's like I don't know. Everything is dry. Everything's, I don't know. I'm so happy. At a loss for words in a sense, but I'm really happy. And I'm just going to keep following the plan and see where it takes us on Sunday.
It's funny how the body does that sometimes. Like I've even done preps where I'm like, this is actually feels a little bit too easy. Like you sort of, and your body's just burning it up. And then I've had that with clients as well. And I've seen it with, and I've heard people say as well, like when they're really, really lean, about to compete, they're like, yeah, I'm doing a high carb day today. And they're like, I dropped. Like, I don't know how that's working. I have to eat excessive amounts. And they're not getting fat or anything like that. So it's one of those things where it's like the body tends to do something weird when you're really, really lean. And it's almost impossible to spill too. Like my last comp that I did, like I carved up super aggressively, which I've never really done before because I spoke to someone like, it's hard to mess it up when you're already really, really lean. So I sort of did that and filled up perfectly. So I think that you're probably going to have that same effect with this contest, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man, we'll see.
But man, I want to give you a chance to thank your sponsors and all that sort of stuff as well. Obviously HD Muscle, both wearing the same cap. I just realized about 2 minutes ago, which is awesome. And obviously Dorian Hamilton coaches as well. So do you want to say a few thanks, I suppose, to HD and anyone else?
Shout out to HD Muscle. Shout out to Iron Bull. Shout out to Prep Shop. They sent me here with a bunch of meals. I pretty much got like almost 80% of the meals I need for the week. It's funny because, you know, coming here, I had like these 2 lunch bags, had a bunch of fucking the ice packs, and I was so OCD about keeping my meals refrigerated or cool enough in those ice packs because the ice pack melts a little bit. The food stayed cold, but I kept going to like on the airport. I'm like, hey, can you give me a bag of ice? They give me like a paper bag of ice, and I'd stuff it in my lunch bag. So by the time I got to Romania, I don't know how long. The first flight was almost 8 hours or 7.5. Then there was like a 2-hour layover, then a 3-hour flight. So it was whatever the math is there. So I was able to keep it fully cold that whole time. And that's what I'm most proud of this week.
That's your achievement. Regardless of if you win or not, that's the thing you're most proud of.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming home with. I'm coming home with pride because of that.
I love it, man. And I want to encourage everyone as well to follow you on Instagram as well. It's just Quint Beastwood.
Thank you.
And man, you've got some really good content. And I feel like as well, like this prep, like about a week ago, I was looking at your stories and they just all of a sudden became slightly less funny and more serious. I'm like, man, you must be hurting in this prep a bit.
Yeah, just getting straight to business. Yeah. I mean, now I was really going, I don't want to say suffering but somebody else would perceive it as suffering, but I was in it. I was in it and I was living it. And I was in a psychopathic way, I was enjoying it. So I was just going with it. And I was a bit psycho. I was a bit crazy. I was a bit probably not fun, not that funny. And I was just very boom, boom, boom. Like I was at the gym training. I wouldn't even talk, you know, somebody would try and talk to me. I'd like, you know, like I'd mouth later. I wouldn't even say a word. I wouldn't, my best friends in the gym, I would like, just, you know, I wouldn't even talk to them.
And people don't realize unless you've been to that place, you know what I mean? Like people don't understand what that feels like unless you've been really ridiculously lean, you know?
Yeah. You have to be very lean, depleted, and feeling like absolute garbage. Because it's like the energy it takes to, hey, how's it going? Like that is like, I could have used that energy to like for the set, you know, and that's how bad it gets. So it was bittersweet, obviously, because I like to be nice to people and
Yeah.
I'm a social person, but yeah, I definitely needed to get in my bag and just focus.
Yeah, man. I totally understand that. I went to that first place this last prep, man. I was like, I've got to do this cardio. I'm like, my legs feel wrecked. I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm like, well, if I get 10 steps done, then I can probably times that by 10 and do 100. Once I've done 100 steps, I can probably do 1,000. Then I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
well, how
yeah,
many thousands do I need to do? Like, you start to do weird maths in your head. Same day, same thing as like, how many days out you are from a comp. I'm like, oh, 2 days doesn't take that long. So like, then that's like double that, 4 days. That's over half a week. Cool. Like 2 weeks to go. Like you
yeah.
think about it in weird
That's
ways, and you
hilarious.
just think day at a time and all that sort of
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
So totally understand where you come from, man. But can't wait to see how you do this weekend at Romania Pro. I believe there's a live stream for that as well, isn't there?
There is, yes.
Sweet. So I'll put the link to that as well below in the description. I'll also put the link to your social media in the description as well. So make sure you do that. Also head to hdmuscle.com and use, what's your code, man? I'll let you plug yours.
My code is Beastwood.
Sweet. So use Beastwood, or you can use mine if you watch another video as well. So that's it from myself, Quinton Eriya as well, at 2021 Romania Pro. So for Xavier Wills, Quinton Eriya, we are out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on desktop bodybuilding. I encourage you to head over to desktop bodybuilding clips, which has the smaller, shorter clips and the best parts from all these interviews and podcasts. So make sure you head over there, subscribe, hit the notification bell button. It really helps me be able to do what I want to do on this channel as well. So it's much appreciated if you guys can do that. Also, if you like this video and this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. So for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are out.